Good evening. Welcome to Clinton Prairie High School. My name is Jerrad Blacker. I'm a candidate for Clinton County Sheriff. The last time I was on this stage was about 25 years ago, and if you'd have told me I'd been running for sheriff then, I probably would have thought you were crazy. I was on the road, on the path to being a farm boy, but God had other plans for me. I just didn't know it yet. May 29th of 1996, I received a phone call from a very good friend of mine, Scott Klaus. Sorry. I was working on a hog farm then in Clinton County. Scott told me that he was leaving his dispatch job, and he thought I'd be good for that. He said, call the sheriff, check into the opportunity. So I called Sheriff Mike Hensley. He hired me the next day, and that's how my career began in law enforcement 22 years ago. But that's not how my public safety career began. When I was young, my brother had a severe heart defect. Being from a farm community, a strong farm community, many friends and neighbors helped us from time to time. Seeing this taught me about volunteerism, community, and service to others. Something our parents, my parents, had already been teaching us through their organizations and service to their community, or to the community that they were involved in. So when I turned 18 years old, in 1993, I joined the Volunteer Fire Department in Prairie Township, where I still serve proudly in my 25th year, 15 years as chief. I've had a great career, being promoted multiple times, accepting more and more responsibility with each new position. I've never shied away from responsibility because it was hard. I took each endeavor as a challenge to show that I was capable and a challenge to succeed. I'd like to thank Mike Hensley for taking a chance on a 19-year-old farm kid from Colfax when he hired me as a dispatcher and then again as a deputy sheriff. I want to thank Mark Mitchell for promoting me to sergeant, detective, crime scene investigator, and a lieutenant, all under his reign as sheriffs. Thank you, sir. I want to thank the Prairie Township Volunteer Fire Department, who allowed me to be their chief for 15 years and gained a lot of valuable knowledge on how to be a leader, how to treat people. I think the people of this community helped me get along the way over my lifetime. Folks like Shan. He was my Youth for Christ leader back in the 90s. It's where I met my wife, Christina. It's his fault. Yeah, that's the best part. But Shan also drove home the importance of faith and family. It's folks like Kenny Thompson and Max Swackhammer, Dave Collier, the Ramseys, the Gangwers, so many more. It's these good people, my family, especially my wife, Christina, who's here with us tonight, my friends. That's who's made me who I am today. As sheriff, I will lead the way the folks taught me to lead, and that's by service to above self. I will have my boots on the ground, working hard to keep this community safe, while working equally as hard for each individual at the Sheriff's Department. As Sheriff, my main focus will be saving lives, the lives of everyone in Clinton County, because everyone matters. I will organize the department to operate efficiently and at a high level. I will empower all individuals to be leaders and to provide them with the necessary resources to succeed. I will continue to work hard right here in Clinton County. I will continue to be here for my community because that's where I've always been. On May 8th, I ask you to vote for vision, for accountability, integrity, and character. I ask for your vote for Clinton County Sheriff. Thank you.
Hey, for all of you, there's been talk from some selected candidates about putting a resource officer at each one of the county schools. There's already one from the Frankfort Police Department at the Frankfort schools. So how do you feel about that idea, and how would you fund it?
Obviously, this question stemmed from my campaign. I feel it's a major, important issue. It's one of the top issues is to protect our children. We have a deputy in the courthouse protecting adults. I think it's time we have a deputy in the school protecting our children. We're in a time that's different now, folks. This is not the same as it was 20 years ago when we were in school. But it's not all about protecting our kids. It's about building relationships. I spoke with one principal at a county school, and we talked about DARE, and he felt that DARE was inadequate and not working well. But one thing we agreed upon is the fact that we need to build relationships. He said that those officers in the schools, when he was talking, or those officers were talking with the kids, Those were the relationships that we're building. And I believe the foundation of a good relationship is being present. We need to be present in schools. That's why I want to put a deputy in the schools. How are we going to fund it? We're going to a collaborative effort. I've already spoken with a few school board members throughout this community, one in particular that's ready to move forward right now.
I need to have you address your plan of action to combat the opioid crisis, and how is the best way that you guys would go about implementing that plan?
Under my administration, I plan to do some reorganization inside the sheriff's office to allow for another enforcement officer to be placed into the drug work. I think that we need to have more officers working towards that. That would go in line with what Frankfort Police is doing right now and step up our drug task force here in Clinton County. I think that it's not just a one-part system. It's not just enforcement. We have to help on the backside of that, and that's when people are arrested. We can't just put them in jail. We can't arrest the problem away. We need to make sure that our programs that are in the jail are efficient and are helping these folks adequately. I've been looking at some top-level stuff around the nation. HARP is one of them. JTAC is something Boone County's using. I don't know if these plans are the greatest or not, but we need to look at our recidivism rate within the jail to see if these programs are being effective that we're using there, see how these people are coming back, if it's working. I think we need to help on the front and the back side.
We have Clinton County and the number of officers at the Sheriff's Department, and then we also have the City of Frankfort with their officers. Also, all of the little towns have marshals and deputies and so forth. So does it make sense, both in terms of coverage and also in terms of finances, to just go to somewhat of a Unigov structure, and what would that look like?
I'm going to have to echo most of what these guys just said. There's not much to talk about on this issue. You're either for it or against it. I'd be open to the idea. I know that there's been times where we've talked about unifying our detective or investigation forces. So, I mean, it's an idea that's out there. It would have to be, you'd have to bring a lot of people to the table to make sure this would work. You'd have to bring your councils and all your heads together to be sure that because it's not just about people. We can put the people together. We do that day to day on emergencies. It's about who's going to pay for that and how that all works, who's in charge. That's a lot of what it is. It's about who's got the control over it. But as Mark said, that each area does have its own little nuances. The sheriff has a lot of responsibilities that are by state statute and has the jail, is an arm of the court, the civil process. The town marshal has his own or her own town ordinance that she has to enforce, and the city police are the same way. So there's a whole lot of things you got to think about and put together when you're talking about putting a Unigov together, or Unified Police Department.
This is for all of you. What is the top asset that each of you bring or would bring to this position?
I think I bring a lead from the front mentality. I've always been that way. My parents taught me that way, to be that way. You know what you need to do. You know what needs to be done. You go out there and you make it happen. You serve others. You build up the people who work for you, work with you. You teach them how to empower themselves from all sides of it, from the top, middle, and bottom. Okay? I think that one of my biggest abilities is able to organize and get people in the positions they need to be in. I see what their skills are. I can recognize what they're able to do, and I can put them in a position to make the agency more efficient. And that's what I think we need to do, is be organized, and then we can regroup and get back out there and do what we're good at.
Can each of you speak to any public service, any volunteer activities, any other elected positions that you've held prior to filing as a candidate for this?
I've been a volunteer in my entire adult life. Pretty much every waking hour was spent to volunteering if I wasn't at work. I missed a lot of family dinners because of it. Dave, you can understand that. And any other volunteer firefighter, EMT, or police reserve officer who served, especially our military men and women, you understand what it means to put your life on the line for free. And I've done that at the Perry Township Volunteer Fire Department for 25 years. And I spent 15 years as the chief there. And we went from a department of 16 people to 30 people. We grew and we became better as a crew. And we made a name for ourselves out there in Colfax land. Some of the other things I've done have been a part of the District Planning Council for District 4. I've been a part of the United Way for several years now. And just Coach Hanna's out there. He knows, man. We've coached a lot of baseball and basketball and softball. I don't know how many kids I've coached over the years, but volunteering for our kids, I've done that a lot. Being director of different organizations and leagues, I'm currently the junior high baseball director for Clinton Prairie.
How would you handle an accusation of a crime committed by a deputy?
Well, anytime someone's going to say that a deputy's committed a crime, it's going to be an important issue that we need to deal with. So the policies and procedures that we have set forth at the Sheriff's Department will be taken into consideration and followed for that entire process. We're going to pull them out in, whoever it is, go through the process of interviewing them, interviewing the witnesses, just like any other investigation, criminal investigation, which I've done for the last 11 years as a detective at the Sheriff's Department. So, I mean, it's not going to be any different. We're going to treat everybody the same because everybody matters. Everybody's opinion matters.
What are your guys' thoughts on the partnership between the Sheriff's Office and the Frankfort Police Department? If it needs improvement, how the best way to go about doing it? Are you guys satisfied with it, and does it need to be improved?
Well, I'd have to say over the course of my career, it's been up and down at times, but I will say, Chief Bacon, you're here tonight. You've done a phenomenal job, and I think everybody ought to thank him when they walk out, because he's taken the Frankfort Police to the next level, in my opinion. He's got officers that are working very hard. He's sending them to training. I've seen him send guys to leadership training and gals. So I think he's got the 12-hour shifts going. I really like what he's doing. He's being very proactive. He's working with his people, and that in turn is boding well with our folks. They're seeing what's going on. They're enjoying that. They're working the same 12-hour shifts now, so guys are getting to bond a little bit and work together. I think it's only gotten better in the last couple of years than it has been in my 24 years there, or 22 years there. Sorry, I had 2 of your years.
Position of sheriff obviously involves the Sheriff's Department and the deputies, and then there is also the jail. So how would you manage the costs, the healthcare requirements, mental health requirements, recovery requirements, etc., for that jail population?
Really, you got to put people. I believe in empowering our people and working together and building those partnerships with the people that work with us. And you put people in positions. Lieutenant Rick Morgan right now is our jail commander, and he does a phenomenal job. And you got to put a lot of your eggs in their basket to let them do their job and let them know that you are there for them. You're going to support their decisions that they make, and you're going to work together as a team. The finances is something that's going to be new to me. I'm not going to lie. Okay, I've been an investigator. I've been boots on the ground guy. I'm not up in the financial sector of all this. That's one thing I will have to learn. But I'll tell you, that can be learned. Okay, hard work, determination, dedication, being there every day, working the hardest cases, doing internal affairs, working the cases against other officers. I've had to do those. That's the hard stuff. Okay? You can bring people in and think about the financial side of things and work on those when it's not it's not an emergency. Those are times that you can work together and work things out.
With many individuals weary and viewing law enforcement in a negative way, how would you guys help bridge the gap between the public and yourselves to build a stronger relationship?
I don't think there's a mistrust in law enforcement. I think it's just uncertainty and unknown what we really do, especially at the Sheriff's Department. In my travels in the last 10, 11 months, I found that a lot of people don't know what the Sheriff's Department does. They don't know who the sheriff is. And that's why I feel like we need to be out in the community more. Like Rich was saying, we need to be transparent. We need to be out there, be present. I believe that being present, like I said, is the foundation of building relationships. If we're not there with people, they don't know who we are. But we need routine community conversations, and we've got to echo Troy again. I mean, Chief Bacon's he's leading the way in that, and that's what we need to do for the county as well. We need to have an enhanced social media campaign. He's looking off my notes here. The community education programs. One thing I want to do is I work with Purdue University. I know some folks there to develop an app that we can put on our smartphones, because everybody has one. I guarantee y'all have one here right now. My dad even has an iPhone, so I think it's time that everybody else probably has one too. So we need to be more present. I want to have community conversations, and currently we have a program where we do RAD for women, for the rape, aggression, defense, and we do firearms for women. I want to expand that to where we're doing it. I've had people ask me, and I've had to send them to Boone County, because guys want to do this, teens want to do this. We need a teen law enforcement academy right here. the Frankfurt Police does the Citizen Academy, we can host the Teen Academy, a week-long thing for everybody, that's kids that want to learn more about law enforcement. We educate them. That way they understand what's going on in our community as they get older.
If you were to enact training programs or a particular training program for the officers at the Sheriff's Department, what one thing do you think would be needed?
Actually, I have a plan for this. I think being a coach kid mentor, which I didn't get to answer earlier as part of my volunteerism, but I meet every week with a kid and through Coach Kids, and I mentor him and talk to him, and that builds that relationship. And I think as officers, and this isn't just deputies, there's more to the Sheriff's Department than just deputies. There's the civilian staff, there's investigators, the patrol deputies, corrections officers. There's everybody play a part in this, and I think we need to start a mentoring program. And because I think we throw too much at one person, throwing them around with different people. I'd like to put them with one person, because we all know at the Sheriff's Department who one guy is that's really good, and we can put him with that, or gal. And we have one person in the jail that is really good. Why do we need to reinvent the wheel? I know I was told when I was growing up, so, hey, you got to see what the bad guy, some of the bad and some of the good, and form your own opinion. As the sheriff, I think I would want to find the best and have that one training everybody.
Well, what do you feel is the biggest issue facing the Sheriff's Department, and what would you do to address that issue?
Being from within the Sheriff's Department for the last 22 years, I got that right, Matt. I think one of the biggest problems we face is communication and leadership. And I've served through 3 sheriffs, Mike Hensley, and currently Jeff Ward. And I think I've learned a little something from every single one of them. And I think that we need to make sure that we are organized. Everybody is communicated with exactly what the process is, exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and exactly how we want it to be done. And then we let them go and we empower them to do their jobs. We let them learn to be leaders. We help them learn to be leaders. I think communication and accountability are two of our major issues. When we do something wrong, you're held accountable. When we do something right, we share that success with people. It's double-edged there. It goes both ways. So communication and accountability.
Sitting beside these guys all evening, I'll tell you what, they're a bunch of great guys, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Blackerforsheriff.com, please go there, because there's no way possible from the time they give us to answer all the questions and provide all the information we have. First of all, I want to thank God, His strength and His guidance, the Chamber for managing this event, forum this evening, and Clinton Prairie, my alma mater, for providing the venue. I want to thank our great campaign staff, volunteering for us, and those who have supported the campaign physically, emotionally, and financially. Most importantly, I want to thank my wife, my children, and all of my family for their support during this very arduous process. Everyone has worked very hard for us to be successful, and Christina and I can't thank you all enough. David Villa said, "I believe there is no secret recipe to achieving success, but there is a key component required to achieve your goal. That component is action. One's success can be measured by the actions that you take every single day that will put you one step closer to achieving your goal. I will not stand before you tonight and tell you I'm the most qualified or the best, or any other words that lead you to believe that I think I'm the end all. What I will tell you is I've been dedicated in taking action every single day to gain the necessary experience and the trust it takes to be a leader. I believe I am qualified. I believe we need a deputy in each school in Clinton County full time. Our children are our future, and we must provide an environment that is safe and one that fosters strong relationships with law enforcement. We must be present. I believe we have a drug problem that doesn't just involve how many arrests have been made. The problem is a ripple effect that's created from the addiction. It affects the community when your homes are broken into to feed the habit. It affects the children who are neglected because their parents are passed out, strung out, or just simply not there. The problem is real, and just because it hasn't affected you yet doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I've experienced it firsthand. As your sheriff, I promise to work hard every day for this community to save lives. I promise to lead with fairness while being firm. I promise to be consistent, hold individuals accountable,
and to do so with compassion. I promise to empower each individual in any role, whether it be to lead from the top, the middle, or the bottom of the department. I promise to do what's best for the individual while simultaneously doing the same thing for our community. Thank you for being present, engaging in the process, and making yourself informed. Be safe as you travel from here. Have a good night, and God bless.